Okay, today I'm going to talk about the 5 top misconceptions of working in conservation. I'm sorry if the wind messes things up a little bit, but we'll see how we go.
Lions roaring in the morning sun, searching for a longer day.
My number 1 top misconception that I think people have of me and working in conservation in general is that you are viewed as always being out with iconic species, not doing any kind of real work. You're just out with them and observing them. People think that I am with the elephants all the time. I feel as you get kind of higher up in your organization or in your role, as you get more experience, you actually end up spending more time in the office and less time actually in the field. When kind of we have visitors here, we go out with the elephants, people are like, oh wow, it must be amazing that you walking out with them every day. And it's not, I don't have time to do that, and that's the reason why I've got research assistants now, and I've trained the keepers, and we get video data, and there's a lot of ways that we collect the data that we need. That means I don't have to be out in the field all the time. Because I've got other work to do. Even outside of my research role, I've got a lot of other work that I need to do, and a lot of work that people will probably find quite boring. I can imagine, and it's probably not what people think that I do on a daily basis. There's a lot of data, a lot of reading, a lot of kind of reporting, and the non kind of research side. There's a lot of kind of HR things that also end up having to do, a lot of liaising with other departments or the office, procuring items, organizing import permits for things, research permits, authorizing payments if my immediate boss, the wildlife rescue director, is out of the country or on leave or on rest. Then it kind of falls to me to kind of authorize and sort things out on the whole, wildlife rescue, so the nursery as well as the release facility. So there are a lot of things that take time that people probably don't think is like the amazing, I was going to say glamorous, but it's not glamorous, the amazing bush life of being with elephants all day long. People think that it's just about the iconic species as well, and it's not at all, with the exception of elephants and a few other species. Smaller species can actually be a lot more interesting than bigger species a lot of the time in terms of researching. No offense to any lion researchers out there, but they don't do much. Especially if you're into behavior like me. I mean, they're not that active. So that would be my first top misconception of working in conservation. Number 2, that there are no jobs out there. While conservation is very competitive, there are tons of jobs out there. And it's a growing field with a lot of varied job roles. So there are jobs, you just have to know where to look for them. And it's not always on the traditional search engine kind of sites, especially if you're looking for NGO, small charity work. They just don't have the money to advertise on these big career sites. Often they'll just put a note on social media or kind of put it out within their networks. So you've really got to be a bit more proactive in looking for jobs in conservation and make sure you are approaching the organizations and asking for jobs. Again, not all jobs are even advertised. Like an organization might need a role filling, but they haven't advertised it. So it's always worth contacting someone from that organization with your CV, with a kind of brief description of you and asking if there are any opportunities there. It might be that they hadn't thought or hadn't got the funding to formally kind of advertise a certain role, but it might end up being that you're the perfect person, that you can end up creating a role or even kind of volunteering or interning for a little while just to kind of show your skills and then eventually work your way up into a job, which is essentially what I did. So there's a big misconception that there are no jobs out there, that you're never going to get a job, and that is just not the case. I've done a how to get your dream job in conservation video where I talk about tips and ways to find those kind of jobs, so I'll link that video below. Number 3, that you shouldn't expect to have a livable salary. This is the one I've chatted about, I think it was the worst things about my job or something. And it's something that, although obviously I spent a lot of years with no salary or little salary, so it often is that way in the beginning, it doesn't mean it should always be that way. And people seem to assume because you work in conservation, you're so lucky that you should just want to do it for free. And it's just not sustainable. And if you want the right people in the right field and you want the organization to be the best it can, you do have to pay salaries, and they have to be livable salaries. A lot of people that get into conservation might have big debts from university. It's not fair to expect, just because you're in conservation, for you not to get a salary. It's the weirdest thing. And I know a lot of people say, oh, I would do this job for free, but after 10 years of doing it, would they really be doing it for free? Could they really be doing it for free? I don't think there's many people out there that could. Number 4, that you can only work in conservation if you have an advanced degree, so a master's or a PhD. And this does vary depending on what job you want to do. But if you look at jobs on the whole in conservation, the need to have a master's or a PhD is actually very small on the whole. I think it's also getting less and less that people who work in conservation do have higher degrees. I think it's because experience beats qualifications all the time. If you have a lot of experience, you can get your foot in the door a lot easier than if you just have qualifications. As I said before, there's such a wide variety of jobs in conservation that there's many that you do not need a degree or a science background to be part of it. Number 5 is the belief that you have to be young to be able to work in conservation, that it's such a long road to get there that you can't possibly do it as a mature person or a career switcher. While a lot of my videos are obviously coming from the background of the long kind of slog of getting into conservation, which is my background and my history, so a lot of my videos are kind of geared at maybe younger people in uni or college, and that's because that's what I have experience of, and that's where a lot of my questions really come from, younger people at the moment. But it does not mean that you cannot get into conservation when you are older. And I think, again, I said there's so many jobs in conservation that it's not like you have to kind of stop your career where it is, scrap all kind of things that you've learned and retrain and completely acquire new skills. There are so many skills that would have been present in your previous or current job that you can put into conservation, and you can use something as a stepping stone. So if you look at my video of the ways to get in conservation without a science background, there are quite a few jobs in there that even if it wouldn't be your end goal job, you could move your current skills and jobs into a job in conservation which suits those skills and experience, and then move across into where you want to be. So use your skills as a stepping stone, use your experience. Don't just think, oh, I've wasted the last 20-30 years or whatever training or studying or getting experience in one field, and now I can't do anything, I have to start again to get in conservation. That's not true at all. That was my top 5 misconceptions of working in conservation. If you have any comments or questions, please leave them below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed this video. Have a great day. Bye.